Hello everyone, my name's Lynda Taylor and I'm with Medical Financial Advisory Services. I'd like to talk to you today about personal risk, and this is the insurances that you have in place to protect yourself and your family in the event that something goes wrong. One of the key issues that I see when I'm working with a number of our medical professionals is that they don't have their insurances policies set up with the correct ownership structure. This is such a fundamental aspect of the policy, yet it's surprising how frequently we see that it's not correct. So what do I mean by this? Recently I met with a doctor, and she is the primary income earner and her husband has retired, and they have insurances in place on her life to ensure that if she was to pass away, he could clear the debt that they have on their property and look after their children. The challenge that they have is that the insurances are on her life and owned by her. So what does that mean? That means that in the event that she passed away, if the will is structured correctly, the money will ultimately get to her husband. However, it would be far simpler and far quicker in terms of getting the funds to where they're meant to go if they jointly owned the policy. So by simply filling out a one-page form, which is called a memorandum of transfer, we made sure that that policy did exactly what it was set up to do. Ideally, when our clients have an insurance plan in place, I will meet with them each year to review the cover that you have to ensure that it reflects your current lifestyle and your needs. One of the questions that I get on a frequent basis is that our premiums continue to go up. And people say, why? The reality is there are three components to a premium increasing. So the first one is, sadly, as we get older, the insurer deems that we represent a greater risk and therefore they charge more for the cover. What you need to be aware of is if you are as old as I am, the rate of increase is far higher than if perhaps you were a younger doctor in your 30s and 40s. The rate of increase is less steep at that point in time. The second reason that the premiums go up is that the benefits are CPI indexed. So what does that mean? Each year the amount that you have insured increases to ensure that we protect your purchasing power, and therefore the premium goes up because you do in fact have more cover. And the third reason that the premiums may go up is of course the actual cost of providing that policy to the insurer may increase, and therefore they increase their charges to their clients to cover that cost. So these factors relate to a rate for age premium, which, as I said at the outset, goes up as you age. You do have an option to put in place a level premium, and a level premium will start at a higher premium than a rate for age premium, but the advantage to our clients is that it remains at that price for the life of the policy. So I'm going to be doing another discussion point talking through rate for age versus level in more detail for you. When I'm conducting a review with our medical professionals, the third component that comes to light often is that people see insurance as one of life's weeds. Basically, they put it in place and they think, we've done that job and we don't want to do it again, we don't want to look at it. And it is just so important that we meet up on a regular basis to look at what you've got in place, why you've got it in place, and does it continue to protect you the way that it needs to. So what would be an example of that? Many of our younger doctors, it is fantastic that they're taking the time to protect their earning capacity, but the reality is that earning capacity could increase dramatically over the next 5 to 10 years, and so what we need to do is to get in touch to ensure that that earning capacity is protected correctly. The other issue that you can think about is our doctors who are working with Sue and Hamish to plan for retirement. They may have a freehold home, they may have built up a passive income, and they're still maintaining very large levels of life insurance, which in fact they don't need any longer. So in that instance we would be looking at how much life insurance do they actually need. Another area that I come across with our clients is that they may have set their policies up and they might have a loading, which means the insurer deems that they represent a higher risk than the average person, and they charge a loading, a 50% or 100% loading on those premiums. Now those loadings might relate to a health issue, for example, slightly chubby, elevated cholesterol, elevated blood pressure. Those combined factors means that the insurer deems you are a higher risk. So recently I met with a doctor who had taken his health in hand, had a weight loss, got those other risk factors under control, and had done so for the last 3 years. Simply by us working together and presenting proof of that to the insurer, those loadings were removed. So you can imagine the savings for that doctor was quite significant. So just to summarise, in reviewing your cover, it enables us to check that the cover that you have is correctly structured for your current position in life, and that you are not paying more for your insurances than you should be. Business risk. So a lot of the medical professionals that I meet with, they are passionate about their profession and their patients and their treatment plans. But the reality is they are business people, and it is really important for the doctor to be able to take a step back and think about the risks to his business from a human capital perspective. And that is where you would employ an expert such as myself to come in and help you as a business person to assess your risk from your people perspective. So what would be an example of that? You may be a GP in a partnership structure or a limited liability company, and you are one of 4 who own shares in that business. And the question that we would ask is, if something happened to you and you could no longer work for a prolonged period of time, or worst case scenario, you passed away, all the years that you have spent building up the equity in that practice, how do we ensure that the value of the practice is paid to your estate, and that the shares that you own go from your estate back to the practice? And that's really important. The other conversation that I often have is that the doctors will say to me, oh, if I couldn't get up and go to work, the practice will pay me for 3 months or 6 months, or they'll pay me until I get better. And so my question is, how much will they pay you, and how will they pay you? So where is that money coming from? If you are in a more remote part of New Zealand, is it easy for you to get a locum to that area? So it's really important to have a discussion around all of those issues to ensure that you have a plan in place. And what we often find is that a robust insurance plan is the most cost-effective way of providing that relief. It also ensures that there is absolutely no uncertainty at the time of claim, because the reality is, if you have passed away, you are not there to make sure that what happens is what you thought was going to happen. So for the doctors that we work with who have business insurance in place, good on you, it's fantastic that you have been proactive. But the question would be, when did you last review it? Do the sums of cover reflect the current value of your business? Do the people that are insured reflect the roles and the revenue that they bring into the business? Do you perhaps have a younger shareholder who is not part of that protection plan? So there are a number of issues that we can talk through with you that basically give you peace of mind, which really is what insurance is all about. Level versus rate for age premiums. Let me explain what that means. So a rate for age premium is, as it says, the rate reflects your age and it goes up each year. By comparison, a level premium, when it is put in place, it will remain level for the life of the policy. So you can choose whether you have a level premium for 10 years, to age 65, to age 70, to age 80, to age 100. This is for life insurance. So the period would depend on your situation, and we would have a discussion around that. A level premium will start off at a far higher point than a rate for age premium. But what it does is it gives you certainty of cost over the nominated life of the policy. So I recently met with a young couple in their early 30s, a medical professional, her husband is an IT engineer, and we looked at how we could structure their cover to give them as much cover as possible today, given they've just taken on their first mortgage, which is quite large, and ensure affordability of that cover through the life of the policy. So at this stage we are putting $150,000 of life insurance on a level premium, and they have $150,000 on a rate for age premium. The level premium is costing them twice as much per month at the moment than what the rate for age premium is costing them. However, with a level premium through to age 70, we have achieved savings of $22,000 for him, and the savings for his wife, generally women's life insurance premiums are slightly lower than for men, the savings over her lifetime is $17,000. So the savings over the life of the policy is significant, but what I've also done is ensured that they can afford the premiums when they get to 50, 55, 60. So that is a fantastic outcome for that couple. Now, if we're going to have a discussion around rate for age versus level, there are some types of insurance where the level premium is not guaranteed. So that is a really important discussion, because we have to have an understanding of what does that mean for you. But there are all of those issues that I am happy to work through with each of our clients, and to look at the various options from the different insurers to see how they compare, not just today, but in the future. And the whole gist of insurance is to protect you today and through into the future.